Here's an interesting spot, ACC. Miami making their first trip to the West Coast for an ACC game against Cal. The Golden Bears, Miami, 12.5-point road favorites, 55 the total in this game. Crazy game, obviously, with Virginia Tech last Friday night. There was that game that Mario Cristobal always has. You're rolling along, and then you probably could have lost, maybe should have lost, and they did at least. He's made progress at least, Mario Cristobal. He definitely loses that game last year, but this time they found a way to win. Here's the thing with the Hail Mary at the end. It never should have been called a touchdown. It clearly wasn't.
Yeah, that was a little mistake. They went too quick.
Part. But here's the thing. They called it touchdown on the field. I'm not certain there was visual evidence, full visual evidence on the replays to overturn what you called on the field. I can understand why Virginia Tech's upset that way, but it never should have been called a touchdown. But the thing is, I don't know if the visual evidence was there 1,000% to overturn it. So the way I see it is, yes, they did make the right call, but it's still a little sketchy whether there was 1,000% evidence to overturn that, even though it looked pretty much like we figured it was not a catch in the end zone. But Miami, with that crazy ending, survives. And for the first time this year, they don't cover a number. And, this is a tricky travel spot. You're going all the way to Berkeley. Can Cal hang with the speed of Miami, especially on offense? Okay, that's the big concern I have here with Cal. And I know Justin Wilcox, pretty good defensive coach. He's had some decent defenses in the past, and we've seen Cal this year shut down Auburn, shut down Florida. Now, they lost to Florida State, but their defense still played pretty well. But the problem is their offense struggled against Florida State, and Fernando Mendoza is probably going to have to put up some points here. And Jaden Ott's going to have success running the football. They're going to need something from their offense, and they're down a couple receivers maybe. Tobias Merriweather, Kyon Grays, two of their best receivers may not play here for Cal. That defense is going to have to show up, because if you get behind, is your offense going to be able to do enough to get you through the back door and get you back into the game is the question. I haven't moved on this game yet, but after what I saw from Miami last week, and let's keep in mind with Miami too, the Florida win's not looking as good. South Florida, who they trampled 50-15, got roasted by Tulane. So even that South Florida beatdown for Miami doesn't look nearly as good. So this is not an easy travel spot. I'm kind of leaning situationally to the Cal side. The question is, do they match up well enough, and can they handle the Miami speed? Restrepo, the receivers, and the rest of the receivers. Yeah. Can they handle the offensive line? Can they get enough pressure on Cam Ward, which Virginia Tech was able to do at times last week? Can Cal get that same pressure? That's the question. I'm leaning Cal, but I'm not thrilled about it. C-Mac, what do you think?
Yeah, Cal off the bye, off the loss. They moved the ball. That's one. I mean, just have 3 field goals. That can't happen. They won't cover or even win if they do that again. Mendoza had 303 pass yards. They had some turnovers. I mean, Ott was 16 for 73. What I was impressed with the Tech defense getting after Miami, but they're off running the ball. They ran it on Miami all fucking night. I think they're at about 215 on the ground. And I mean, that Miami defense did not look good. I mean, the whole thing at the end, shout out, but congrats to Miami coming back. They were down 10. They had to get 2 touchdowns in that fourth to win. You know what I mean? They went down and scored. They got a stop, and then they had the touchdown.
They don't win that game without that insane catch that Restrepo made on that 4th down on his can. Basically on his keister, on his ass on the field, down on the field on his backside, and he makes the catch. Without that, they probably lose.
Yeah, but I thought I was just impressed, and this was a thing we talked about. Miami, I know South Florida, we've seen them. That defense is in rough shape so far, too. South Florida, how big was that win? I don't know if this will be easy. I was impressed with Cal. They got the turnovers when they went to Auburn there. Can they have this here at home? This is where I want Cal at home. Has a dog like this, so I'm interested in them already. I'm going to do a little more work on this game, but on the weapons, Miami could go in there and win big. But I've seen Ward. That was the Ward sometimes I saw where he looked great and made plays. but he would have some of those bad games we saw at Washington State where he could get roughed up, especially if you got heat on him.
Yeah.
And the Cal's got 2 weeks to prepare for this. That's what I like even more, Bavano. So, yeah, I'm looking at Cal here.
Yeah, not as efficient. Couple bad decisions, couple bad throws from Cam Ward last week against Virginia Tech, and Cal influenced that is the big question. Speaking of Virginia Tech,